introductions. Fantastic. So I can see that we are now recording right now. So welcome everybody to the 2nd of April Tilt Thursday. We are absolutely delighted that you are here, and more importantly we're absolutely delighted that Sandra Actas from Wellington College is here to talk all about Office 365. So welcome to Sandra. This is the session that we're going to be going through today. And I will stop sharing my screen right now. And I'll be monitoring the chat, but over to you, Sandra. Welcome to Tilt Thursday. Thank you ever so much for your time and sharing your expertise around Office 365. I'm sure there'll be many questions. So if you have a question and you'd like to put it in the chat, I will try my best to answer everyone's questions. So I'll turn my video off now, and over to you, Sandra.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Please feel free to ask questions anytime. I really don't mind, and I will try my best to answer any question. Feel free to interrupt, and I will reply as much as I can. So I'm going to introduce myself first. My name is Sandra Actas, and I am the head of French at Wellington College. Before joining Wellington, I was working in the state sector for about 5 years in a school called the Matthew Arnold School in Staines, near Windsor. And before that, I was a private tutor for about 8 years, and I was also studying part-time for my second degree. I've got quite an unusual profile in the fact that I am a biologist first, and then I got a second degree in linguistics. I think it's given me quite a methodological approach to teaching, and you might actually see that tonight. I also love technology, and I was really excited to start working for a Microsoft Showcase School this year at Wellington College. As soon as I realized that Wellington was a Microsoft Showcase School, I decided to go paperless with my teaching, which means that I have absolutely no book in my classes. The students are all equipped with mostly Surface Pro, and they will have digital pen. And then I took on the challenge, and so far it's been working very well. So I'm going to try to demonstrate that to you tonight. The good thing about being paperless is that actually for me the transition to online teaching was quite easy. It doesn't make that much difference actually, apart from the fact that the students are actually now little screens on my computer. But I work more or less in the same way that I used to when I was teaching live. Tonight I'm going to speak about Team first for about 10 minutes. Just an introduction to it and just to show you how to set up an appointment on Team. And then I'm going to spend most of the time on OneNote, show you what I do with OneNote, how I teach, plan lessons, deliver them, get feedback, record live feedback as well. And finally, I will try to give you some of my best expertise on the week I've done with distance teaching using Team, and try to answer any question you might have. Do I have any questions so far? Or?
No, not. Well, I think we might have a couple, but I think we can come to those in a moment. But I think if we crack on, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to show you our teamwork. So I'm going to have to share my screen with you and put you. Let me check it's ready. Yeah. I am going to show you my Outlook calendar. So hopefully that will work fine. It is there. Okay. Is that showing?
Yes, in a moment. It's yeah, we can see that fine.
So there is many ways that you can actually organize a team meeting. You can do it from the Team application, different way. I'm just going to use to show you the way I use, because I think it's the easiest way. And if you use Outlook, that's going to be perfectly easy to use, and it's the most simplest way. So as you can see, this is a typical week for me. I put absolutely everything on Outlook. I don't have a teacher planner, so anything go in there. And again, if you have questions about that, I'm happy to answer. So to organize a team meeting, I basically pick a slot. So say, for example, I want to organize the team meeting. Can you see my mouse moving on my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So if for example, say I want to have a meeting right there, I just click on that, double click, open that. First thing I will do is click on Team over there. So that should appear. Then I will give it a name. So for example, Team MFL meeting. Then here, I'm not going to do that now, otherwise you will see all my colleagues and student email appearing, but you just type here the name of the student or the name of your colleague, and it will automatically appear here, and then it will send them an invite. You check the time, so I'm just checking there, so that is the time, so you could change it, make it an hour, for example. And then after that, you can write any note you want there.
I just say at the moment you're showing us your timetable, but we can't actually see you creating this bit. So I think it's just
okay. Let me show you
the window that you need. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So that would be more interesting. Can you see that now?
Ah, yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
So basically, what's happened is when I clicked on the meeting, it's opened a sub window. You didn't see that. So here we go. I am the window. So I added my own title. Then I clicked here. So when you click here, automatically that appears. In required there, you just write the name of the participant. I'm not going to do that now, otherwise their email is going to appear, but you can just do that there. Then check the time, date. Let's make about, I don't know, anything, planning. You can write any comment you want. And then you just click send, basically. You can also give them an alarm that would just tell them give them a reminder that they have a meeting. You can write, you can dictate note, anything you want. I just keep it like that normally, and then you send it. So it's not going to send because I didn't put anyone on it. But normally when you click send, what will happen is that you will have automatically, they will receive an email to invite them, and then it will go into my Outlook calendar. So I'm going to share that back with you. And let's see if it works. So here you go, you've got it there. So the meeting appear here. They will receive an invite, and all they have to do is accept it. And when time comes, you just right click on it like that, and you just go join meeting. And then you will be joined in a meeting, and I will show you in a minute how that happened, because I need to open the team meeting now, because they won't open from there. So pretty easy, pretty simple. You can invite a full class. So if your IT system allow, you can just write the class name, and then all the students will be invited automatically. Otherwise, you will have to invite them one by one. But depends on how your school system work. And the student will all receive invite when you do your class, your teaching from there, and you just have to click join, so it's quite easier from there. So let me stop sharing my screen now.
So just to clarify, Sandra, would all the children have surfaces and would all have their calendars, so you would send them an invite, or they'd be able to see exactly when they have, or is that, could you maybe talk a little bit about how you structure the day, as in do you have the same number of lessons per day as you would face-to-face in the present context, or how do you set that up, please?
And could I just interrupt a bit and ask if you could speak just a little bit closer, a bit louder as well? Okay. Is that all right? Yeah.
I'm coming closer.
That's good. Thank you very much.
So at the moment, we are following the very same timetable as they would have in class, in school, I mean. So we expect them to be online at the very same time as they would turn up into our classroom. So it's the teacher that need to invite them online for their team meeting, and the students are just expected to join class after class. We are big on Microsoft, so more or less everybody is using Outlook. So I use it as a teacher, and then I would expect most of the students to be using Outlook actively now. So the fact that Outlook and team are working together, it's very practical, because you just need to follow the Outlook calendar, and they would have invite from their teacher, click on join, and they would be going quite easy from virtual classroom to virtual classroom.
Right, so are you sending them an email with a link for them to join at the start of each lesson, or is that automatically in their Outlook calendar?
Automatically. So as soon as I set up the team meeting, they will receive an email to tell them they've been invited, and they just click accept and then join at the right time.
I see. And Ramesh has asked the question, are these lessons live generally, or do you have like the introduction and then it's more asynchronous where you give the students a task to do and then you come back at the end of the lesson on the Teams again?
I will speak about the lesson structure later, but yes, basically I teach them like more or less as I would in class.
Okay, thank you.
So, I mean, I give them time to work independently for about 5-10 minutes at a time, depending of the year group, but I am actually on there, so they can see me.
And we have the question as well, do the students see the meeting time on their calendar? That's how it works? It's all synced together, is that right?
Yeah, as you can see so it's appear on their calendar just as you've seen with mine.
Yeah,
just
okay.
The same title, same time, everything. And they can see also who has accepted it. And I will try to show you now. So let me open Team. I've invited Ellen on Team. Ellen, did you get my invite? I don't know if you can you hear me?
Is this the one from the previous, from earlier on in the day?
No,
Or is
I
this a
did
new one?
send you a new one.
And have you done it to my my school address or to my
Same address normally. Yeah, same address.
same address? And did you send it at 4:02?
Yes, I think so.
Good. Okay. Right. Okay.
So,
Ooh, how exciting! Right. I'm now going to
so I'm
click
going.
on there,
Yeah.
and then I'm saying I will join, and
So I'm trying to share my screen now.
reminder. Here's our meeting. Join the Teams meeting.
Yeah.
This is very stressful.
No,
while Helen's
Join
doing
now.
that,
I think I'm coming in.
Okay. While Helen's doing that, Elizabeth has asked a question. I use the calendar with all the classes, but the students only see the information that is for them. Is that right, Sandra?
What do you mean the information for them?
So they all have their own timetables. You have your timetable. So presumably they will only see.
Oh yeah, they don't see my calendar.
Yeah.
Unless I make it public, which I do. Everybody can see my calendar. They just can't see what I'm doing. They just can see I'm busy, basically.
Okay. And we've got another great question about, do these students, when they join the school, do they get a rigorous set of training around how to use Microsoft Teams, and how long does it take them to get up and running with using Microsoft Teams?
So the staff got training. We had an hour training, and I don't think the student have. They're just really good. They just click join and then.
Okay. That's it. They don't need training.
we were the one. Because basically they receive an invite, and all they have to do is click join, and then I'm showing you my screen now. Can you see my team screen?
Yes.
So that's when you click join, that's what appears, and then you just go click join now. It's very similar to Zoom as well. So I'm going to join now. So it's going to be on Zoom and Team at the same time. So when I get some feedback, so we'll try. So I'm not going to turn on my camera here or my microphone. So I'm going to mute myself. Can you still hear me?
Yes, absolutely fine.
Okay, because if I don't, you will have a feedback. But basically, Team look like that. So it's very, very similar to Zoom. I don't use all the functionality of it. I'm using the very basic functionality. So basically, I click here, and with my school, we have to record every lesson we do. So to record, I'll show you again. You click on the three little dot there, and you start recording. So I'm going to do it now. Then when it's automatic. It just gets recorded. You don't need to press stop record. You just stop recording as soon as you finish the session. And then you receive an email to tell you that your session is ready for you to download if you need that. Usually I do take it and I put it back on their OneNote so they can watch that later if anybody missed the lesson.
And we've got the question, how many people can join the meeting in real time at the same time? Is there a limit?
I have no idea how many maximum, but I had no problem with any of my class, and I've got one of about 29. So I guess it's more than that.
Okay.
I don't.
Thank you.
Well,
Catherine has asked, why do you have to record every lesson? Is that just a safeguarding thing?
That's to do with safeguarding in my school, yeah. So,
okay.
So every lesson we do has got to be recorded. So what we do, the first thing I do is tell the student they are being recorded, which is absolutely fantastic for behavior management online. So I do recommend that because there is no problem, because they know they're being recorded. Then what I do is here you've got the chat, so you can click, and if you will see, it's very similar to Zoom. You would have the chat on the right side here. Participant is the little people there. So when I click on that, so what would appear if you had a full classroom, you would have a list of students that have joined, and then list of students that have been invited but are not on the stream yet. So it's your register done for you, basically. You don't need to do a register because anybody not on there, you didn't come. That's very useful. And yeah, so Ellen is writing hello.
That's fantastic. Ramesh has asked a really good question. Are you allowed to do mock speaking one-to-one or with another teacher present in Teams?
No, same thing. We can do that. We just record. Obviously, now it's not really called mock speaking, but
sure.
I do have one-to-one tutoring as well, and we do it on Team and we just record it.
That's
So
fantastic. And someone else in the chat earlier said they had 130 people in Teams at the same time for an assembly. So you can certainly have up to 130. I don't if anyone can find out what the maximum is and put it in the chat, that'd be much appreciated. So this is
I know some
yeah.
teachers are teaching 2-3 classes at the same time. So
Okay.
if the teacher is absent, I could ask more people to join my class, for example, which would be good.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So that's it for team, and that's more or less all I use, because once I put it on, so what I do is I've got 2 screens. One I use to be on OneNote, and the other one I display team on the side, so I can still keep an eye on the chat and what's going on in there. I've got some clear rule with my student, so they cannot speak to each other on the chat. They just can ask me direct question or question about the lesson, and also they can reply to any question I ask. They're all very, very good. So far, no problem. You can, when you create a meeting, there is an option to mute everybody, just as on Zoom. But so far, I ask them to mute themselves. And so it gives them the liberty to unmute and ask me a question live if they want to. Or I can ask them targeted questions. And so I would just ask the question, give a name, and then they would just reply. It's coming take them about 2 seconds to come in live.
That's fantastic. And the icon in the middle there, that's the share the screen option. Do you do that at all?
I can show you and see how it works. So I'm sharing 2 screens at the same time, one on Zoom and on Teams. So
okay.
We've done that before, it was working. So you can see the window underneath, I think. So you can see here what I would do is just pick any window, and just as I'm doing now, I could share my screen. One thing that I can show you now is you can also take control of somebody else's computer. So that's quite interesting. So you ask permission to take control of their screen, and then you can overtake their document. So it could be a Word document, a OneNote document, anything. And you can just for this application, just take over. I haven't done it yet with my class because I have OneNote, so I can write directly on their document. But if people don't want to use OneNote and they still want to use Teams, that would be something they could do. Do you have any other question on Teams? Or?
Yes, absolutely. So we've got a few questions. One is students say they cannot hear the videos when I share the screen. Any suggestions, Sandra?
That's a problem we've been having with Team as well. At the moment, all I'm doing is give them the link, and I give them about a few minutes, 5-10 minutes to go and watch the video on their own and come back. But we're trying with my school as well to find a way that we can all watch or listen together. It's the same for most recording as well.
Okay, that's great. It's been mentioned in the chat that the maximum seems to be 250 for a Microsoft Teams session, which is wonderful. I think it was Elizabeth wanted just to clarify about the calendar. So they're seeing their own calendar, you're seeing your calendar, but then you're sending them the link for them to join the Teams via email. Is that right?
No, I don't send them anything. As soon as I create the meeting and I put their name into required, they will receive an email automatically, so I don't have any additional
I
things.
see. Right, and then so then their calendar is updated with the so details?
They will receive an email automatically from Outlook to tell them they've been invited to a meeting, and as soon as they accept it, appear on their own calendar.
Okay, that's fantastic. Hopefully that's clear with everyone how the calendar works. That's wonderful. I'm just checking if there are any other questions, but you're doing a great job. It's great.
So if I show you my calendar again, if I didn't close it, I think I might have closed it. So.
Okay, so we've got a great question from Cheryl about back channels, about the chat. You get to monitor everything. Is it possible, presumably, is it possible for the students to chat privately with each other where you're not included within the message string?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not aware of that, at least.
Okay.
They might communicate with each other, but I think that would be more on their mobile phone on WhatsApp. But not on anything. And I don't let them use the chat to do that. But I think it's all about using routine as well as you would do in class and make it clear what you expect from them.
Of course.
With
a number of thumbnails on the screen, is the maximum 4, or can you have more than that?
What do you mean, the little...
You know, when everyone appears with their little thumbnails, for Zoom, for example, is the maximum 4? This is the question.
I think I've seen more than that. I tend to ask them to put their video in the beginning or put them when they speak, but normally they turn the video off.
Okay.
So I haven't tried to put all my class at one go. Just again, for behavior management, the way I do it is I just ask them questions and they reply immediately to make sure they're listening. But I don't expect them to be showing their face all the time.
No, of course, of course.
I show mine.
So, and with you, when you're sharing the screen, you could, for example, have a Quizlet Live running or a Kahoot running. So because I was seeing on Twitter that people were talking about sending people the code for whichever session it might be, but actually if you're sharing your screen you don't need to do that. They can just see what the code is there and then.
Play anything you want. You can. The one thing I would say to be careful with sharing your screen is the same with Zoom or actually with Team, is not to display your desktop, because otherwise they would see email popping up.
Okay.
Make sure you display window, you share window, so you share particular app or web page, and not your desktop, because I've done it by mistake. It's not very good. It was during a staff meeting, so not very important. So if you share your desktop, they will see everything.
Okay. We got some other nice questions about muting and unmuting. Is it possible to do that as the teacher? Can the teacher mute everyone in one go?
Yes, what you can do is, as default mode, you can mute everybody from start, and they can't really unmute themselves until you do it one by one. So for challenging classes, or if you've got a very large number of people, you might want to do that. I don't do that. I give them freedom to mute themselves. Again, I make it very clear, and they're very good.
Okay. And is it possible for the students to record the sessions that you do, or is that only down to the teacher?
That I don't know. I think they might be able to, but to be honest, for me, they don't need to, because I give them access to the recording after anyway. So
okay. So you're not sure if you could forbid them from making recordings.
They see that they're being recorded, so I don't think it will let them record on top of another recording. So it's really,
okay.
And they have access to their recording if they've been recorded anyway.
Kerry's asked the question. Sorry, I hope you don't mind me asking all these questions. So Kerry's asked the question: is it possible for the students to mute the teacher? Because I know that was an issue around Google Meet.
Yeah, so that's the problem. So you can stop them doing that at the very beginning. So that would be for a challenging class, I guess. If that happens once, then you take full control at the beginning of the meeting, and you put themselves as mute everybody, and you're the only presenter, and that they won't be able to do that anymore. So far, I had no problem with my class doing that to me. But again, I think it's, if you have a student that's particularly challenging, you might want to do that. But
sure.
Yes, you can mute them all.
So if you wanted to mute the students, can you just show, well, obviously we don't need to show the names of the students, but can you just explain what you would have to do? Is it a keyboard shortcut, or is it
I will have to put you back on my calendar. So can you see my calendar now?
In a moment, your screen share. Yeah, we can see your calendar now. Yeah.
I'm gonna double click on the meeting here. So it's a team meeting. So when you click on team meeting, okay, you've got like join team meeting, and then you've got meeting options. So for some reason it doesn't want to go now. Go now.
Right, so we're seeing your calendar, but we're not seeing the options.
Yeah, well, anyway, you can, when you click on meeting option there, it will give you the option to be the only host and to mute everybody else. And then you do that. I think it's because it's a past meeting, so I can't do that. But you click there, and it will be written, do you want to mute everybody and be the only presenter? So then you can do it from there.
Okay. Cheryl's asked a question. As a teacher, can you see if students have muted you, or is it just a question that you can see that you can't be heard?
I've been told that you can't see who has muted you.
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
It hasn't happened to me yet, but I've been told if they mute you, you can't tell who it is. So the first time it's happened, you just take full control of the class, I guess.
Okay. That's great. Yeah, so Ramesh again has asked the question, are you allowed to deliver live lessons in your schools? We're not currently allowed to do so, and no plans to change that. But you said already that in your particular situation, you are doing live lessons.
I am teaching as I would normally do during my normal schedule. So I'm having all live lessons. The only difference is I record them. But apart from that, I'm teaching normal hours.
That's fantastic. Okay, wonderful. We've answered lots of questions. I think we should let Sandra carry on. Otherwise, it's great that you've got these questions, but I think we don't want to interrupt Sandra too much.
We will have a lot of questions on OneNote as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So Team, basically, the idea for me, just using, I could use Zoom as well. I mean, the one thing with Team is that it's linked with Outlook, so it's seamless with organization, and I like to be organized, so that's very good. And the students, so far, I had 4 or 5 classes last week, and I had nobody absent. So 100% attendance online. So that was quite amazing. That shows prove you how easy it is for them to use. As I say, I use 2 screens because I find dividing the screen into It's not very useful, especially when I use OneNote. So on one of my screen, I project team, and on the other one, I just keep to the OneNote. So we're going to OneNote now, so I'm going to share my screen with you. So let me find OneNote.
Sarah's asked whether you could explain, not necessarily show, but explain how you can take control of the other learners' devices, or the screens, I mean.
So I am not an expert on that. I've just do it during training.
Okay.
I can't remember. It's on the little three dot. There's a button where you click request control, and then the person on the other side will have to accept it, and then you can basically use their screen as your own. I've done it once, and it was quite easy.
That's great. That's great. I can see in the chat there's some real experts as well around using Microsoft tools, and, so that's really wonderful. So thank you ever so much for answering some of the questions of other people in the chat. Obviously, we don't want to be interrupting Sandra too much. So now we're going to have a look at OneNote. Thank you so much.
As I say, team, I'm not an expert. I really use the basic function, which I just to show people that you can actually use it just to basically show your face and show your screen. I don't do anything fancy on team. I just use it to deliver my lesson. Where I do something much more advanced is probably on OneNote. So this is where we're going now. So let me speak about OneNote and the reason why I love it so much. I'm a big fan. I don't have share in Microsoft, but you might think I have, because I really, really love it. So the few bits, I've got 10 reasons why I like it. The first one is it's save me time on planning. And when I mean save me time, it saved me a lot of time on planning. I used to spend ages and ages preparing my lesson on Smartboard. I did love it, but it was time consuming. Maybe my lesson looked better in a way. I don't know, like the look of them, but the content I think is much better now. And it's much faster to plan. I will show you that. I plan and deliver on OneNote, which means I don't have PowerPoint that go with it. I don't have any other document. It's all on OneNote, nothing else. This is what I display on the board, and this is what I choose to plan, deliver, everything. So there is no doubling on activity. Everything on OneNote is in one space. That means I can put recording, Word document, link, video, anything on one place. So it's extremely easy for the student to use. Don't need to carry books ever again. So I've got access to all my student books, which are digital books at any time. So that's been life-changing, which means I can mark in my own time as fast or as slow as I want. And they know that their work is scrutinized at all times. So they are actually working harder for me, I think. It's good for live marking as well. So I can sit at my desk and just look at their work without going around the class, which I tend not to because I've got I'm still a state school teacher at art, and I just tend to go around the class and check they're all working, but I could actually do that from my desk and check their work. It's absolutely fantastic for differentiation, and I can show you that in a minute what I do. I'm still trying to create a different way to differentiate, so if anybody wants to share ideas, I'm taking. We do collaborative work, so all the students can work on one document, and I will show you that as well. When the students are not in class because they are ill or any reason, this is fantastic because I don't have anything to prepare for them. All they have to do is catch up with the lesson that is now online for them. And just I need to make sure they do it. But basically, I don't have to actually deal with sending cover work or anything. Same thing for cover, by the way. I just take a OneNote lesson that is more like independent work, and they do it on there. I don't need to print anything or do anything. I never do printing anymore, ever. That's been saving about half an hour of my day every day. Fantastic.
So just to clarify, we're looking at OneNote now, but we're also looking at Class Notebook. Is that the same thing, or is Class Notebook just the extension of OneNote, so you get to see all the students' work?
So OneNote is exactly the same thing. The Class Note is just where you basically add student to your OneNote, and it gives you a bit more functionality where you can share with them, give them back.
Can I make a suggestion? Because this really confused me ever so
Mm-hmm.
much until I was told this, that you've got there at the top OneNote,
Mm-hmm.
you've at the moment got a mauve, you've underlined Class Notebook, and it's that has brought you this ribbon which helps you manage. So perhaps if you clicked away from Class Notebook just to see what it looks like if you didn't have Class Notebook,
No, it's the same thing.
and
This is
then
just,
it just looks like a normal editing thing, doesn't it? But it's when you want to
yes, so it's
manage the
open as a
book.
Word document.
So
Yeah.
perhaps that might help, because I got really confused about the difference between OneNote and Class Notebook. So
So you can have your own OneNote, and it works exactly the same way as this. The class notebook just allow you to deal with students, distribute lesson, edit them. I will show you that in a minute as well. Basically, class note is just an addition to OneNote where it allows you to add students. So here you've got, like, for example, student 1, student 2. I couldn't put more because I have to use actual real people, and they have to be in my school. So that is my son, and that's one of my colleagues. But in a real class, which I can't show you because it would be my student name, you will have about 20, 25 students here appearing. So the way it works, you've got a collaboration space where on there, and I will show you more in detail later on, you've got students that can work on document all at the same time. So actually, let me show you that now.
Actually, Sandra, before we go into that, can I just ask a few more questions? Is that okay? So, for example, we have one, how do you see pupils' answers if they're using the chat on Teams at the same time as sharing your screen?
I use 2 screens.
Right, so you split your screen into 2, is that right?
No, I have 2 screens. I've got an extension screen.
Oh, I see. So you literally have 2 monitors, and
Yeah.
that's how you can. Right. Okay. But if you only had the one monitor, would you be able to?
Yeah, you can divide your screen in 2, so you can just make the window smaller.
Okay.
But then it make OneNote very small, and because I write with a digital pen, it's quite difficult to do that. So I do love having 2 screens.
Okay. Fantastic. And then Ramesh has asked, can you use this to present on the whiteboard, or do students need to access this on their own devices?
I project that on the whiteboard, and the students also use it on their own device, but they have their own version of it, so they can alter the document. So basically, I make a lesson. I display task by task on the board, and the student will have their own version, and they can edit it, and it's saved into their own file. So I've got the original version displayed on the board.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So the one cool thing you can do with OneNote is work on a collaborative document. So that means all the students will have access to that. So what I've done here, if I show you the full screen, can you see that? So that's quite fancy. So I've created, I use Excel to do that, little pages for each student, because what's happened is if they all work on the same page, you get conflict and their work don't appear, but there they are only allowed to work on their own page. And that's my template. So every time we do a task, they do that for themselves. So I will show you what's happened now. Does that come up?
So you've created this template, or this is available from a bank of templates?
I made it myself.
Okay.
So here you go. So the background is not coming. It will come in a minute. Here we go. So then the student can write on their own page. And they make it bigger. So to write, they make it big, 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 like that. With their digital pen, they write. They could type as well. If you don't have, obviously, digital pen, they could type. I love the pen. And then as a teacher, you can see that appearing live on your screen. It's quite cool. So that's the first one I use. And I've got another one, so a bit more sophisticated. I made a map of Wellington. That's my school. And I created little page for each place of the school. And so that's the template. And when the student go on it, okay, there's a bit of delay. What you have here, it's going to appear in a minute. Taking time. Here you go. So you will have the student work appearing. Here you go. So they will put it big like that. They will write their own comments. And then I put it small again. And you can see the full map has been illustrated. So again, that takes a bit of time. This is where you can have fun and prepare things like that. So they're all working at the same time on the same document. They can all see that being edited, and it doesn't produce any conflict because they all work in their own space, basically.
That's fantastic. We've got a few more questions. So we've been asked, how can they type? Can you show how they would do this, please? So presumably you would put an activity in the collaborative space, and then they can all then write in there. And then also, how do you create the template for collaborative writing, which is a similar question, isn't it?
The template, that took me a long time. It depends how creative you... Can you see my screen is flickering? I think it's going back. So I will try to do that now. So the template, it's a picture. That was a picture of Wellington, and I pasted picture on top of picture. Put it as background screen. You can do that in Paint. You can keep it as simple or as more complicated as you want, really. You don't have to make it as complicated as me. So if I put the screen big like that, can you see that?
Mm-hmm. So does it matter? Does it matter the size of the document? You can have it very large. Is that right? Yeah. And just zoom in.
Exactly. Yeah. So this page there, I'm making it very big now, so I can just write nicely. So sorry if you can't see me because I will be writing now. So if I write like that, can you see that appearing?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I can use my digital pen. So that would be the pen version, and I'm going to try to type for you. So you can see that it doesn't have to be a pen. So let me come back on that. Frozen now. It doesn't like zoom at the same time as OneNote. Okay, full screen. Here we go. So you can also type. I think it's frozen. Okay.
No, it's okay. It's fine. I can hear you fine. I presume everyone else can hear you. Everyone fine.
Yeah, just my screen is. I don't know what you can see.
Okay.
I can't. It's taking time. So basically, you can either type. Okay, OneNote went. So I guess I'll have to open it again. So let's go back.
It's fine. You're doing fine. So presumably, because it's in the collaborative space, any of the students can collaborate at any point of the document. Is that right?
Yes, when in the collaborative space, they can edit that at any time. Have you got it back now or not?
Not yet. If you click share screen.
I'll do that again. Share screen, and I need to share that. Here we go. Are you back?
Yep, that's lovely.
Okay, so let me try to type so you can see me typing and show that it works. So if I write bonjour, here we go. And I can move that wherever I want. It doesn't have to be there. And write anything you want. So you can type or write at the size you want, and it's absolutely no problem. I do prefer for the student to write with the pen and to type in English. But apart from that, I think that's personal choice. If anybody working on Surface and they want to know as well how to add accent when they're typing, I can tell you that as well. It's quite easy.
That's great. Yeah, we've got a few more questions. So can people edit each other's work in the collaborative space if they're typing?
They can. I don't let them do that. I just tell them to write on their own space.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it creates conflict, and the document will be taking the last version of it. This is why I've just basically done little square there. So if you let them write anywhere, they could erase everybody's work. When I experimented, I realized quickly that they needed their own space on there. That's why they have their own, basically.
Okay, and Alexandra's asked, do you have a normal PC? I'm not exactly sure what that means. So presumably it's just like a standard PC running Windows 10 and...
No, to be able to write with the pen, you need an inkable device. So I've got a Surface Pro.
Right, so, okay, so in class... Yeah, that's right. So you were talking about the two monitors.
Yeah.
So that's your PC, but you're actually writing on your Surface, is that right?
Yes.
Right, okay, so to do the inking...
No, the monitor is not my PC, just a monitor that I plugged in my Surface. And I just extend the screen, as you would. I
see. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
That's
use
great.
the pen. So this is a digital pen. I just write on it. If I show you the rest of OneNote, so you've got a content library. So the content library, this is something all the students can have access to. They can't delete anything from there as the teacher, but they can grab lesson. So for example, I will store all my lesson on the content library. And the student could right-click, copy, and paste them in their own folder. I can put past paper question. I didn't there because it's a demo class. And I can put booklets as well. I've got a lot of booklets for them to practice. And it's on there as well if they want to have access to that. On the teacher-only part, the student don't have access to that. They can't see it. They don't even know it exists. I put my lesson. And I put the lesson that I am preparing as well, so they can't have access to that. So for example, this one there, I just wanted to show you what I've done there. So I started to plan for it. And if we have time, I can show you how to plan live as well. And they don't have access to that. They will only have access to that when I just, for example, show you copy, and put it back on there. Now they have access to it. If that makes sense. Again, for their exam, I don't share the exam before they've done it, obviously. I share that with other teachers in my department so they can have the exam on Word, then they can actually print it as a physical copy, and then they have the recording to play for the students. So it's all up here on one page, which is easy like that. And then the most exciting bit is the student part. So the student, you can organize their folder as much as you want, as little as you want. You can let them do what they want with it. I impose the title with them because it makes it easier to distribute lesson. So they normally they have a term 1, term 2. I have a booklet for them, homework space, their own space where they can put anything they want. And then when we do oral session, it goes there. So again, they would have their own session. And if you see, I just giving you a random example there. So they could do prep. And I would tick there that it's done, mark it. So the red pen is my pen. They are not allowed to use red pen. It's just me.
And when they're inking on the screen, does it have to be a certain format, like a PDF, or can they ink over anything that you put into the space?
Oh, they just write directly on the screen with their Surface Pen.
Yeah, but does the format of what they're writing on, does it have to be, say, a PDF, or could they ink on a Word document, for example?
No, it's not even a Word document. They just, so if I show you now, I can straight away. This is just the OneNote. I can just write on it straight away.
Right, okay. So it's basically just the canvas within OneNote, but if you were to add a file into a OneNote page, for example, a PDF or an
I will show you now.
Yeah.
So different teachers work differently. So myself, I'll show you first my version because probably the easiest way I create my lesson directly on OneNote. So I type in OneNote. I use it as a Word document if you want. So everything there has been created on OneNote. So you would have text that will be typed. There is differentiation. So the differentiation I'll show quickly. So the student can use the rubber to uncover the work there, Then you have video integrated. And then you have back-to-back dictation. You can speak about it later, extension, everything. So that's my style. And then we've got Angeline, which is live today. She prefers to plan on Word document. So here we go. It's how it looks for her. So she created Word document. As you can see, there's a link there. And she makes beautiful lessons on Words. And then she print them on OneNote, which means basically I cannot alter the document. You see, if I try, I can't touch it. Where I compare to my one, I can literally change anything I want there. You see? So if it's a OneNote, it's printed straight on one. So if it's a Word, it's printed on OneNote as if it's printed. If you plain on OneNote directly, you can edit it anytime. So the reason she did that is because first she wasn't convinced with OneNote, so she was printing her lesson. But we can ask her later. She's live now. But as you can see, she makes beautiful lessons. The student don't mind whether if it's straight on OneNote or if it's on Word. I personally find that it saves a lot of time to do everything on OneNote. It's much easier and there's no fiddling with different apps. It just goes straight on it. So
that's great. We've got a few more questions, if that's okay. Is it possible to lock the document once you have enough answers in the collaborative space?
I haven't tried to lock on collaborative space, but yes, I think it is possible.
Okay.
I don't lock anything myself, but again, I think it's more in case the student are being naughty. Yes, you can. I know that you can lock documents everywhere on OneNote. I haven't done it.
Okay. Okay. Esther's asked the question: can anyone who uses Class Notebook share ideas on how they have organised the student subfolder? So essentially, that what you've got there, that sort of file structure, that I think that's fine. I think people can see how you structured that. It would be lovely if people wanted to. That's a personal
choice. I haven't seen anybody else doing it because I just started. I haven't seen anybody. So that's my take on it.
Okay. Great question from David. Can you push a document or a task to students' individual areas for the whole class in one action?
Yes. So I will show you how to do that now. So if you are on, for example, if I take this lesson that is not finished, but I want to distribute it quickly, I go to class OneNote here. And I go distribute page. I click distribute page. And what you will have here is, it takes a bit of time. So I want to put it in term 2. So they all have to have a folder called term 2. This is why I'm quite strict with them not changing the name of their folder. and then I click distribute. Now it will do it. The only problem, it can take up to 2 to 3 minutes, and depending of the how good, oh, it's done now because I've got only 2 students, but sometimes it takes a bit longer. So I used to do that. It works better if you do it a few hours before, even the day before. But the problem is I've got some students that are really keen, and they would do the lesson before the lesson, if you see what I mean. So I don't want that to happen. So what I do now is I put it the last minute into content library, and they go and cut and paste it themselves. I just find it easier. But you can.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
If you can see now, so you see it doesn't appear yet in a folder. You can go on the class, right click, sync the folder, and when you sync it, you see it appear now. So there you go, it's been done. But basically it's that. So in their own folder, they will have their own version. So if I can show you some example of lesson that we've done, anything you would do on an actual book, like I mean, not a digital one, I have managed to reproduce on OneNote. So far, the most challenging one was back-to-back dictation, if you know what is that, because you require to print quite a lot of paper, but I have found a way. So far, everything I managed to do it on OneNote, including student feedback, AFL, differentiation. So that's my take on it. So you can see for the help, for example, where in the, so that is this is language. So the video is live there, and the help, for example, all they'll have to do is take their rubber and just erase that, so they could have the transcript. So that's differentiation for you. They have the grammar there, gap fill, speaking skill, and then I will show you how they can record as well. I think a lot of people were asking for that. Now for the recording, I will go in there. So that is Angeline that created that. What she's done there, so this is for the IGCSE, so if anybody does the IGCSE, the student have to work on pictures, so they can alter the document, put their own picture there, not the one they will use for the actual exam, but practice picture. And then there they have the mark scheme, so the teacher can just literally, as they're doing it, give them a score, like that, and carry on, give them a score. Now what we can do, as we can't actually do all the session live, you can go back there, click here, and I will show you insert here. And if you click audio, you can record live on the document. So if I go 1, 2, 3 recording, then I stop, and my recording is right there already. So I'm going to put it up. There we go. So can I try to play it, and then you can see if I can listen to that. Let's go. So if I go 1, 2, 3 recording, there you go. Did you hear that?
Yes, lovely.
So this is how you do recording, and then you can write, for example, anything. So student, and then the teacher can do their own back later on and just add their comment. So that's how you can do recording. So yes, basically, in terms of organization, the one thing I would say is just to make sure that the students, so if I show you both students here, they have more or less the same folder name. So they can move them, but they cannot change the name, because if they change the name, then it's harder for the student or the teacher to mark the work. You can also have a homework page where you can put all the homework if you want to. There's space where they can put their own work. Again, I can't show you a real class because then you will see the name of this is a real student work there. Do we have any question?
Yep, we've got a few more questions. So Rachel asked the question, do all the students work at their own pace then in what you're showing us?
No, they don't work at their own pace because I do deliver it as a normal lesson.
Okay.
So the only way I see it, I had a kind of very old approach to the whole thing, which is I wanted to reproduce traditional teaching as much as possible. So the OneNote is literally the print I would give them if I was teaching live. So I would tell them, I don't know, say I'm teaching Ilan now, and it would be on this lesson, say mine, up. So we would do doing the reading. So we've done the starter together, and I would say, now I give you 5 minutes on your own to do the reading task. You've got help on the side if you need it, you just uncover it. You've got question in English, so answer in English, and I give you 5 minutes, if you have any question, you can just write your question in the chat box and I will answer you live. And I just give them 5 minutes to do it and then we crack together.
That's fantastic. Ramesh asked the question, is there a way of using the clicker to move through the content as you would in PowerPoint?
No, so I just, so if I show you a display in the screen, so on the screen it wouldn't look like that. So when I do it on the whiteboard, I click on this arrow right there, and I basically can make the screen as big or as small as I want. So say I'm doing the starter, but that was not a great one. So I want to do that, but I don't want to show them the question. I would click on that thing here, and then I would push everything down, so it would look quite nice on the board like that. So that would be displayed on my whiteboard.
I see. And can you display a timer so the students can see exactly how long each activity lasts?
I'm sure you can. I haven't done it, but
Okay.
I'm sure you can. You can display anything you want. So you can put video timer. I'm sure it's fine. But yes, I can see why. I haven't done it, but yes. So here you have video. So for example, if I play the video, you will see it doesn't open a link. It will just play it straight. Oh, it doesn't work because it's an old lesson. That's YouTube for you. I've done one. So I've done this one this morning. So that will still be working.
À quoi ça sert? Ça veut dire quoi?
So the video is played directly from the OneNote, so it doesn't open a new page. So it's quite nice. So they could have still the question, which I haven't made yet, appearing right underneath. Quite nice. And if I want to display it myself, I just put it big.
Sorry, and to add the YouTube clip, you just need the link, don't you? Not the embed code, is that right? And it recognizes it as a YouTube clip.
So for example, you won't see me taking that, but if I take a YouTube video, so I'm going to take a link, anything. Taking time. So basically, I just copy the link. Well, it doesn't work now, but okay, there you go, I've got one. Taking time. I just copy the link from YouTube, paste it on OneNote, and that appear by magic.
Excellent.
So all I've done there, I haven't created anything. I just literally placed the link. I just put insert, put the link, and then that appeared.
Fantastic. We had the question, can you freeze the screen if you want to? Is that possible?
I freeze my screen on my whiteboard, but that's nothing to do with OneNote. It's just my whiteboard. So in class, I would freeze the screen. Okay.
Yeah. I suppose in the same level, could you lock the students' surfaces at the same time? So if you were like, no, you can't do that.
So I don't have control on their surface. However, what I can do is I can see what they're doing. So say I'm having a live lesson and I'm teaching Angeline and she's doing this lesson, I could see her work appearing live. So while they're working for 5 minutes, I can go and make sure they're on task.
Okay, so you mean like literally walking around the classroom as opposed to having on your screen, you wouldn't be able to see thumbnails of all their screens, no?
No, no, unless they're working on collaborative document, I would have to go.
Yeah, sure.
Unless you do, there's a way to do view. I haven't done it again. You can view and check student work one by one. There's an easier way, which is mark student work. I haven't done it myself, but it doesn't open all the student work at once. It just let them one by one, in an easier fashion.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I think we've answered you've answered most of the questions. Oh, how do you add the lessons to lots of students, or do you have to copy them one by one? I think you've covered that already by distributing the page, haven't you? I think.
You can distribute the page. We just said the only problem with that is take a few minutes, and sometimes you don't want to lose time in the lesson. So most of the time I put in the content library and then just copy and paste it themselves.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much. Can you insert a whole PowerPoint? There we are.
Yes, you can. So you can any document, any document. Just as you can see here, you've got a PDF or you've got a Word document. You can add any document. You can have Excel or PowerPoint, and it will just appear like that, like a little window. And then you can have also the preview of it. So you could have appearing down like that as pages underneath, or not, as you want. So when you go insert, you can insert any document from their file, picture, online video, anything. And it just appear like that. Okay, I don't use PowerPoint because I think it just double the work for not much.
And can you embed a PowerPoint so you see it as a slideshow, or does it have to be just as the file?
No, I think when I've used the PowerPoint, which I haven't done many times, I've kind of pasted the slide so you could see the slide appearing underneath. And then you just click quickly on there directly and it's open on PowerPoint.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I don't think you get a small window like that. But it's
Okay.
quite easy anyway.
Can you do screen recording in OneNote or in PowerPoint? Well, you can in PowerPoint, can you? But can you do screen recording in OneNote?
No, at the moment you can only do audio recording. I think I've been told they're looking into that. My idea to develop my teaching further is to use Loom now, to do Loom video, for example, for grammar, 5-minute explanation, and I would just paste it. So say, for example, I'm teaching to have grammar here or vocabulary, whatever. I would do a Loom video and just paste the link here so they could click it or watch it live next to it. So you'd have to
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Um,
So that's all the questions so far, or most of the questions so far. If you have other content that you'd like to show us, that'd be amazing. I appreciate we're sort of coming up officially to the hour mark, but if you're happy to carry on, Sandra, and if people are happy to
I can
watch.
show you a bit more lessons. So I have shown
Yeah.
you this one. So for example, this one, that what I've done. So that is the lesson the student haven't done yet. So the differentiation, I use more or less the same technique, whereas I put some help and the student would just rub it out. I'm just thinking, if you don't have a digital pen, you could still do that, but instead of coloring it, because I am basically, if you can see me using my pen there, I'm just coloring it with my pen. But what you can do is add a box, because you can have shape and things like that. You could type and just add box and color the box in and just put it on top like that. Would be exactly the same, just would be taking a bit longer. So that's differentiation ID. I would have extension task all the time. What I've done now also is sometimes the extension is a link to another website, so they can do something else. I use This Is Language a lot, and they have direct link, and I use their questions as extension. You've got writing skill here, and then what I've done is the boxes, so they all write in the box, so I don't look for where their writing is. That is quite a nice one I've just created recently. I can show you that. So you know, as when you ask them to write paragraph, sometimes you ask students to include past tense, perfect tense, imperfect, etc. What I do now is I literally give them the word I want them to include. I just find it works quite well. So I give them word and they must put in their paragraph somehow. It's more challenging, and then it forces them to use the correct tense all the time. And then give them vocabulary to learn. Oh, this is quite cool. So in terms of prep, because we call homework prep in our school, it's something I've created over the last four years. So it's a new version of it. I record myself reading a typical grade 9 text, I would say. So I'm going to make you listen.
Salut, je m'appelle Nadège. Moi, j'adore regarder la télévision le soir. Mon programme préféré, c'est 10%.
Etc. So I've got an ID. So there is past tense, future tense, everything in there. And then they have to write the transcript for me. And then we correct it next lesson. And then that is my new thing where I give them a link for the student that want to do. It's not extension really, it's from extra work after the lesson. So they've got plenty of French to do there. There's a full episode there, and this is a link to a study somewhere. But that would be a typical lesson on OneNote. But again, if anybody doing differently, I've got any idea, I'm willing to share ideas because that's the whole point.
Well, Heike's asked a great question. Where did you learn all of this? Did you do like a Microsoft course, or did you just learn it independently?
Yeah, I did watch a lot of YouTube video, and I played with it, really. But anything you see there, it's the way I used to teach on books anyway. It's not that different from the way I used to teach before. It's just the digital version of it. So I guess it just my take on teaching digital version. I think I was quite brave that I went on OneNote straight away without training. But to be honest, once you do a lesson and then you're fine. For example, here I'm planning one. So you just start, you just write starter. So if I was to plan this one, I don't like when it's a blank page. So I would just go very French. I put some line like that. I would change the color because that makes me happy. I make it bigger. The one thing is that French will look like that all the time, so you have to change the language so it doesn't make it like there is a mistake. I've got a bit OCD on that. I make it always look the same. The student like that. So I start like that, and then I just start. I write starter, And then according to the mood, I might do a gap fill or something. I keep that for later. Sometimes I just add the resource first and I build the lesson around it, or sometimes I know exactly what I want to do and you go. So it allows me to actually build my lesson. I can do it over a few days and then I can do, or actually at the end I want to do a writing task and just move it over the day and eventually it takes shapes. Quite nice. So I don't have to do it in one go. It's less linear than PowerPoint. You can do it linearly and very methodologically, but I like to see it taking shape like that. All these lessons, they have been created like that.
Fantastic. A couple of people are wondering how you get that sort of background, that Jotter type background. Can you explain? Is it like a template or one that you found yourself, or?
You mean the square line?
Yeah.
So I show you again. So you go to View. So up View here, and then you put whole lines. So some people would prefer these ones. I don't like them because they're very British. I prefer the little square here. So up, and then you can change the color. So if you've got dyslexic student, this one is nice for them, and then you can display it on the screen like that. And you can also write yourself. So I could just write with my own writing, or I could record anything. I mean, the more creative you are, the more you can go with it. It's quite nice. There's no ending to it, really.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You can put anything on there. The way it's really, really good is that students really have access to everything on one page. So they can listen to the recording again. What I do is, so I've got some teacher that teach the lesson, they correct it on the content library and then delete their correction on it. I find with that some students tend to wait for the teacher to correct and they copy from there. So I don't do that. I do it exactly as I would in class, which is I write it and then I delete everything. So they have to write their own version of it. But I'm just being mean. Just to make sure they're working hard. But again, there is different take on it. There's no right or wrong. I think just teaching styles there.
So just to clarify, have all the students at Wellington got a Surface, and do they all have a pen as well?
Yes. So all the students now have Surface. So it's either a Surface Pro or the other version of it. It's the other one, but they're both in cable device, so they all have digital pen. So some teachers have been asking me before, what about if they forget their Surface? Well, they don't, because it's like forgetting their head, really, because they have to use it every lesson. What if they don't charge it? Again, they're used to it, so they do charge it. If they forget, well, we've got plugs in the class, so usually there's always somebody with a charger. I never had a problem. There's always enough plugs. And if they forget their pen, again, I am not going to be happy. So what I do is I give them very old style, give them a pen and paper, and I make them work on paper that time. And I said for next lesson, they have to reproduce only in their OneNote, so they only forget it once.
Good trick.
And I've got about three spare pen in my class anyway. But if they keep expecting me to give them, I just make them do it later on. And they will forget it. They will lose them. And it's the same as if forget a real pen, really. No big deal. They can type as well, which I don't like. I'd say for French, I rather they write because the exam they have to write. That's the thing. I didn't want them to be fully typing all the time because I still want them to work on the exam skill. I'm aware that most people won't have digital pen, but so you don't have to. You can just type. Like it would be fine. I could type now. One can say.
And talking of typing, can you show us how to do accents using the Surface?
So I don't know exactly. Can you see the lower section of my screen at all? Can you see that? So you can see the OneNote, but can you see my little windows open at the back? Maybe
we can see the Un jour en question video, and then it says add section, add page, but we can't see anything below that.
Basically on the Surface, and that would be probably on Surface only. You have a kind of like a black line at the bottom where you right click and you can add a key touchpad, and then I guess you won't see that now. You will not see that appearing.
No.
So you
but if you could explain it to us, I'm sure people
it looks very similar. So when you add that, you have a button that appears, you click on it, and it looks very similar from a nice iPhone keypad. So you can just press on E and the accent appear, or on A and the accent appear. This is what I mean when you tap on iPhone and you can wait.
Right. So essentially, you have to launch the keyboard, and there you then hold your finger down on, say, the E key, and then the different options will come up. Is that right?
I've got an idea. I think I know what I'm doing. I'm going to take a picture of my screen, so you will see it on OneNote now. I'm going to be cheeky. So here you go. So I'm going to copy that quickly. So I'm just going to add a picture on the OneNote that I've just, can you see the picture now there? Can you see that?
Yes.
So if I'm putting that very big, there we go. So what you can see, can you see the little keypad there? There. Can you see that?
I can see the taskbar. I can't see a keyboard.
Yeah. No, the taskbar, and you've got a little thing
Oh, I
there.
see. Yep.
So that, to add it on a keyboard, you press on the black line here, right click on it. It won't work now, obviously, and then you tweet in show let me see exactly what it's called. It shows show keyboard button or something like that. Shows, yeah, keyboard button. So when you do that, that get added, and I can take a second screen so you can see that now. Okay, let me take another picture of my screen. That's a bit fiddly. Okay. All right. It doesn't appear. Wait. Because I'm trying to take a picture at the same time as moving my screen, so it's not easy. I will do it. Here we go. All right. So you will see it will look now like exactly like an iPhone board in a way. Let me see a picture now. You will see what I mean. Oh, I think it's not gonna work. No, it won't. It's not an application. Oh, maybe it does.
Yeah. We quickly saw the keyboard just then. So this is the touch keyboard. That's what Frank has just pointed out to us in the chat.
Yes.
And can be used with a mouse too.
Yeah, here you go. You see it now?
Yeah,
so that's appear on my screen. And what's happened is when I keep pressing on E, the accents appear.
Perfect.
And
So can you do that with any key or with that keyboard, or do you have to add a keyboard in a certain language in order to get that?
You can see the ENG there. It's the English.
Right. So it's just the English keyboard, but you can choose different accents that according to the language. Yeah.
Exactly. You just press on E and then you got accent. I don't use the French one because I type faster on the English keyboard.
Perfect. Hopefully everyone in the chat has understood how that works. That's really useful, Sandra. Thank you.
No problem. And if you have students again using Surface, that's the best way, because some of the students are allowed to use computer for exam, so I would just tell them to use that. Otherwise, they can use the shortcut, as most people use shortcut to type accent. I'm not very good with them, that's all. So I use that. And then as you type, just to remember, if you don't want your work to be highlighted in red, you have to select, right-click, and change the language to French. Because if you take it off, like now I'm doing, you see all the English appearing. Read it. So I did it one. So I just don't like when it says I'm making mistakes. That's all. And for the prep, so you can see there, you've got a little window appearing. The first thing I write with my pen appear on the window, so I can just write prep and tick it, and you can see quickly the prep has been done. So that's good. Do you have any more questions?
No, I think everyone's starting to say thank you ever so much. And we are I don't know if there's other things that you want to show us, but I think that well, Alex has said got to go now, mind blown, which is great. Is there anything else that you'd like to show us? Have we got time?
For hours, but I don't want to take people's time. So, my take on it is basically that anything you do in class with a normal exercise book, you can redo on OneNote. So far, my biggest challenge was back-to-back dictation, and I worked away around that. If you are the reapplication of that on distant teaching is really, really easy. And just to be clear with the student about the voting and how to use the chat box, and now you have to rethink your lesson a little bit. So it would be a biggest challenge for people that are not used to OneNote and distant teaching. For me, as I said, it was quite easy because the OneNote was already in place. The only thing is just to make it clear to students they can't interrupt you when you're talking unless you give them permission, and to keep questioning them and making them participate in lesson. And I find being live with them actually works better than letting them work on their own. Otherwise, some students won't do it. But yeah, basically that's it.
That's wonderful. And obviously OneNote is available on lots of different devices, iPads and Chromebooks and what have you. So
at the moment, if I show you...
could you do similar functionality? Obviously, you wouldn't be able to do the inking.
So can you see my iPad now?
Okay, yeah.
So while I was actually talking to you, I would note for myself, just in case I forgot what I had to say. So I did that on OneNote, and I was using it on my iPad, so I didn't use my Surface to do that. So I've got 3 screens actually.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you could use this in a bring your own device context, couldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I use my phone as well. So I've got an iPhone and I've got my Outlook calendar on that. So I can see my every meeting I've got OneNote, I've got everything on it as well. So I can have access to it at any time. And it's synced automatically, by the way. You don't need to press record, it's just automatic. Whatever you do on the app. The one thing I would recommend people is not to be using the OneNote online and the OneNote application, is to stick with one. Otherwise it's very confusing because they look slightly similar. So I use OneNote, the app tonight. This is what I've been using. I never use the online one because it just look different and I get confused.
Fantastic. Okay, well I think if it's okay, we'll wrap it up there. But thank you so much, Sandra, for all your amazing the features that you've been showing. I think it's really blown lots of people's ideas on how you can use OneNote. It's certainly, yeah, me included. I've tried my very best to answer everyone's to put everyone's questions, but I think someone was asking about if they want to get in touch with you. Presumably Twitter would be okay if you're if people...
Yes, I'm on Twitter. I used not to use it very much, but I have kind of started to use it a bit more. So Sandra Aktash on Twitter, and I will reply any question. I'm very happy. And if people have got any idea and on differentiation in particular, or extension, or their own take on it, because people are already using OneNote, I've never seen anybody else except my own teacher in Wellington doing it. So I'd like to see other take on it and different organization, and that would be amazing.
Amazing. We've just got one last question, if that's okay. The questions have been amazing tonight. But so Cecilia said, if you record something on a student's page, can you lock it so they can't delete the recording by accident?
I don't think you can lock their own page. I don't think that would be possible. I haven't done it, but as I say, if you anything you do, you can save it as a backup on your own teacher folder. So I would do that. I had students deleted their own lesson, and they have to learn. I mean, the same thing if they would lose their book, or they would just, I don't know, destroy their book for some reason. So there's more backup on that. And anything they do in the cloud is saved anyway. So there might be a way to get an old version of it. So, yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you so much again. It's been really fascinating. And we had, I think, well, the last time I checked, nearly 100 people in the room again. And still an hour in, well over an hour in, we've still got 57 people in. So I think that the community has found that really, really useful, and I will try my best to get the video up ASAP after we finished when we press stop recording, and then people will be able to enjoy it afterwards as well. But thank you again so much, Sandra. Helen, was there anything you wanted to say?
Well, I want to say on behalf of everybody, as always, thank you very much to Joe. And in fact, yes, the numbers have gone down there, but actually when it was when you started wrapping up, they were still there, so people thought we were finishing. So just so you know that lots of people stayed. So thank you ever so much to you, Joe. I've said others as well. It's lovely. It's like watching a television program, a radio program here. And I think you did brilliantly, because this is a massive, massive topic. Just to talk personally, I have tried it and then stopped over the last 4 years or so. It is really difficult. This particular situation has driven me into making sure I can do it now, or try to do it. And it's people like Joe, like you, Sandra, like Jane. And just to say, Jane is going to be doing a session on Tuesday night. You were saying, Sandra, you'd like to see what other people do. Well, yes. She's going to be, it's you're very much along the same lines. But I can really see how you can just pick up ideas and think, oh, that's a good idea. But it's something where there are hundreds of questions, loads of questions while you're starting to do it. So just picking up on what one of the persons said there was almost, how can we ask follow-up questions? Sandra, you'd be absolutely flooded if we all asked you questions.
It's fine, they can Twitter me.
But if you're all right about that. And I think the other thing is, we could probably think of a way of making it that there's, whether we've got a hashtag, or I know that I have set up a Facebook group for 365 users. So, it's something I think we could really think about, how we can help each other so that we're not drowning you in loads and loads of questions, because there are a lot.
I'm on holiday. I've got work to do. But the target was to help people tonight, and
brilliant.
And to basically to try to improve the teaching at the moment for as many students as possible, because it's a big challenge. And I've been on OneNote for months now, so I would be happy to
Oh, it's really, really generous of you. Really generous.
No problem.
Okay, so thank you ever so much, and thank you to Heike, who's been there in the background and who has, for some reason, the live stream has only just stopped. But perhaps I've pressed something. But it's been great to be able to see that you had 12 people watching there as well. So thank you very much to everybody for coming, and I hope to see you all on Tuesday for at 8 o'clock to see Jane Basnett talking about Microsoft Teams and Notebook as well.
So is Tuesday the new Thursday?
So Tuesday, it's called, what is it called, Joe?
Sorry, remind me, what was the question
Tuesday,
again?
we call it Tilt.
Tilt Tuesdays.
Or Extra Tilt.
Or extra time. Extra time. Sorry, yeah, that's right. We like the alliteration of Tilt Tuesday, but in fact, in the end, we went for Thursday. But yeah, so it's going to be a Tilt Extra Time. So that'll be the third extra time one that we've had. Yeah. So Tilt Extra Time. There we are. Because
we're trying to pack in as many people as we can. So
absolutely. Okay. So thank you so much, Sandra. That's wonderful.
And I'll stop the recording now.